I welcome all of you to the to the PMP class. Yesterday, when we met, we discussed about the first lesson of starting the project, initiating the project, and we basically talked about stakeholder management. So it's a very important topic from the PMP exam point of view. The lecture is available in the recording format. You can view whoever has missed this lecture. Just to provide you a brief summary that we discussed yesterday about stakeholders are all those people who have the stake in our project, either it is positive stake or negative stake. They need trust from the product, service, or the result from the product, from the service or the result, which will be the end product of the project. So the stakeholders might have a positive or negative interest in that. So we need to identify all these people, departments, entities who have positive or negative stake in our project. How do we identify? We said that we can do this by documentation review. By documentation review, I mean we can look into the business case, we can look into the any contract, any proposals that we received. We can look into it through, we can discuss, we can do brainstorming, we can discuss with the sponsor about who are the parties involved in the project. And also, we should try to understand the scope of the project. Once we understand the scope of the project, we will identify what type of skill set we need. Once you identify the skill set, you will get to know, okay, this project might require skill set from engineering. So I need to consult with the engineering section head. So all those people will become your stakeholder who you need the support from the engineering department. Similarly, you might need some help from the finance. You might need some help from procurement. So you need at least one point of contact in each of these departments, because you need to involve them with your project activities. So this is how we discuss that we'll identify. Then once we identify it, we'll create a stakeholder register. Now, this is an important document. PMI methodology guides us that we need to come up with a stakeholder register. Stakeholder register in which we will just register a stakeholder with all the details, such as the department. And then we talked about assessing the stakeholders in bit more detail. Like we want to identify what is the power level, where does this stakeholder sit in the organizational hierarchy. So we need to identify the power, interest, and an influence level of the stakeholders. Lastly, we said that we also need to identify the attitude of the stakeholder, because once we assess the stakeholder, we we need to also assess the right, whether the stakeholder has got right level of interest in our project or not. So because we may want to draw more attention or more support from the stakeholder, but he is not right now interested. So we need to assess the current attitude of the stakeholder, that either he or she is a supportive stakeholder or a resistant stakeholder or a champion stakeholder. So we need to understand the attitude toward the project. And based on that, we will do the third thing, which is engagement strategy. So then we talked about stakeholder engagement plan. We talked about communication preferences as well. We said that we need to identify what are the preferred method of communication for these stakeholders. And apart from that, what is the kind of information they are interested in? So it's important that right information is sent to a right audience. You being the PM, you are the custodian of the project information. So with some stakeholders, you might need to communicate with them the project status report on weekly basis. With some stakeholders, you need to interact to buy in, like support in case of any risk issue. You need to escalate to top management upward. And we discussed that the influence of a PM is in five directions. We said that it is in all, it is upward with the senior management. We said that it is downward with the project team. We said that horizontally he or she communicates with the project managers or peer project managers. And then we said that they also communicate with the external suppliers, contractors, and vendors. So in all these cases, you need to be very selective what you are communicating with who. So in which format and in which frequency you will be communicating with. So all these things we discussed yesterday. Without further ado, Gigi and George, I believe, have joined. Hi, Gigi.
Hi, Jan.
Yeah.
Morning.
Morning, Gigi. Just to reiterate, we are actually live on YouTube. So any issue with that, George, Gigi?
That's okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. So yeah, we are just starting for the today's class. I was prior to that, I was giving the introduction what we discussed yesterday, or maybe summary. All right. So now, since we identified our stakeholders, and I said that we will dig deep about our project scope, and we have some understanding of what kind of skill set is needed for the project. So we need to form a team, um, and there are certain guidelines when we are setting up a team, so that we should set up the ground rules from very early on, and people understand their roles and responsibilities from the front foot. You from the upfront, they should know why they are here, what is their role in this project, so that there should be no there should be a shared understanding between everyone working on the project. So your role uh, is that you should provide them with the environment in which they can flourish. So, so your role will be to create this collaborative team environment. So how would you determine what kind of roles you need for your project? It is by looking at the kind of the work involved in the project. And based on that, you will have some understanding of the kind of work. Let's say it's a IT project, you will understand, all right, we need to do some development. All right, so we need to have some developers on board. And depending on the technology stack your organization is working with, you will also determine what kind of specific skill set you need within the developer. And you will just keep on identifying all kind of skill set that you need for your project. Maybe it is testing resources you also need. Later on, you might need also the DevOps guys. So it all depends on the kind of project that you are working on. If it is IT, it is construction, it is pharmaceutical, whichever industry you are in, you will be able to identify. But before uh, but that specific is not the part of right now our topic. Our topic right now is that um, what are the guidelines to set up a team, how we form a team, and in this regard, a lot has been said. The psychiatrists around the world have actually put up some guidelines for us to follow, that how does the teams transition when they form, they pass through these stages such as forming, norming, storming. So we will be discussing that what is the natural cycle once a team is formed, what is a natural cycle that the team passes through. So Bruce Tuckman is a psychologist who gave us 5 stages of team development. What does he said? He said that once we form a team, we we start with a stage which is called as forming, which is by name, it is very much clear. But what does happen in the forming stage? This is the very first stage in which nobody knows much about the project. Nobody knows much about themselves. Why? I mean, about each others. Why? Why they are here? what is required from them. So being a leader, you need to give them the direction. So here you need to be a directive leader. You need to provide them the understanding of the project, the very first understanding of the project. And also, as a leader, you need to take them through team building activities so that they should break the ice and they should get to know with each other. So this is the stage where, as a leader, your role would be that you will provide them the direction, and you will set up some ground rules uh, to I mean, to deal with the issues later on. And here you will also try to conduct some team building activities. So these are important to get to know each other. So this way, people will get to know each other. But what happens after that? Once we form a team, it passes through these natural questions: that what is the project about, why I am here, what are my roles and responsibilities. So the PM has to provide this understanding, roles and responsibilities. So what happens next is that they will there will be a stage called storming. The name suggests that there will be some misunderstanding, or some people will show their face to each other. Like, people will come out and they will say, okay, let me show you my muscles, let me show you who I am, and they will start to question the authority. I mean, this is the stage where they will not quite get along with each other, not necessarily always, but someone will question the authority as well. They will say, all right, what are the credentials of the PM? Why he is made the project manager itself? Like, you can expect anything, because this is stage called as conflicts may arise in this stage. Conflicts may arise, and a lot of people will show up with like, who am I? And these kind of questions will come. So what is the role of the leader? The leader has to bring up his game to actually resolve the conflicts, right? He should be using his conflict management strategies. Now is the time that you actually put in practice your ground rules, because you said that, all right, we will not be talking about politics, because we said that, yeah, politics, there is no room for the politics in our team. So this is what we set up in the ground rules. So let's not talk about the conflicts. But if the conflicts, I mean, let's not talk about the politics, but if the conflict happens because of any other normal issue, then the PM has to show his leadership skills, and he has to resolve those conflicts using the techniques such as collaboration, such as smoothing, such as any other technique that he has set up. So storming is a natural stage where people will question each other. And then, now many teams actually disintegrate at this stage. So people come with in your team, and then during the storming phase, they become hostile, and then they leave your team. If somehow you manage to bring back the normal routine, and they call it norming stage. Now, if the leader has managed to bring back the harmony between the team, and team has started to accept each other, there is some kind of collaboration that you have created, and everyone is getting along with each other. So that's a cool stage in which at least work will happen. They will support each other, and you can say that you have managed to reach to this stage, and now more productivity will be apparent. All right. So it's not easy. Not many teams reach to this stage. But Bruce Tuckman said that there is further improvement which happens along the way. And then you would see there will be teams which go above and beyond the normal level. They will be called as performing teams. So he said that there is a fourth stage which is categorized as performing stage. So in the performing stage, people will complement each other. Like people, if someone is sick, the other person will carry on with his responsibilities. So few teams reach to this stage that they shoulder, they give a helping hand to each other, they support in case of need. Each one is there for the support for each other, and these teams are literally productive, more productive, and um, they are above and beyond the normal stage, and then they are performing, and these are actually very rare. Rarely teams reach to this level of understanding that they complement each other. Now, Bruce Tuckman also said that like project has an end date, so as teams which are formed for the project, they also leave each other, and that stage is categorized as adjourning. So adjourning stage is where we cherish, we celebrate our success, we celebrate our success, and we celebrate our success, any lessons that we learned along the way. uh, we we share with each other what did we learn during this project, and and then we adjourn, because now the people will move to other projects. Either they will see each other in the new projects, or they will the team will be dismantled, so as the project manager and the team members will adjourn, they will leave the project and the project is already closed. So these are the 5 stages that are given to us by Bruce Tuckman 20 years ago, more than 20 years ago. Actually, first he gave the model of 4 stages, and later on he added the last stage, which is adjourning stage. So yeah. So any question on these stages of team development? All right.
Yeah, I have maybe it's early, but just to know, but have we already talked about the resolution management strategies already?
Resource management? No, no, no.
No,
That's
the conflict resolution, because you said that project manager will bring in his management resolution management
no, no. We have
strategies.
yet to talk. We have yet to talk.
Okay.
Yeah. So two good important things I touched, but we will talk in detail, are the ground rules, right? One is the ground rule, and we will look into it in detail. And then we will look into the conflict management strategies, which are very important from the exam, PMP exam point of view. And overall, there would be some questions up from these stages, like uh, you would be you would be given a scenario and you need to identify which stage the team is in. So when the people does not know anything about the project, it could be the forming stage. When the people fight with each other or conflicts happen, this could be the storming stage. And when people start to get along with each other, this could be the norming stage. And when people complement each other, it could be the performing stage. And then when people leave each other, it could be the adjourning stage. So this is important from the PMP exam perspective. And we'll come into detail about the team charter and the ground rule document that we just. All right. Okay. Now, whenever we see this kind of symbol, we are talking about agile, right? So in agile, we have a concept of self-organizing team. You remember I said that there is a difference between a role called project manager, and in agile we have the counterpart of project manager, which is Scrum Master. We call it Scrum Master. Okay, the Scrum Master, he actually does not direct the delegates or directs the tasks to the team members. In fact, he actually supports and facilitates people. So people are self-organized, which means the team members uh, gather themselves around the work and they distribute the work and they commit to the work themselves. Okay. So those are the characteristics of the agile teams. Sorry, there is a question. Anybody asking some question? I just heard.
No.
No, okay. Okay, so agile teams are self-organized teams, which means that they organize themselves around the work. And there is one more characteristics of this team is that they are taken from very cross-functional, they are cross-functional team members. So they are skilled in different various skill sets. So some people from finance, some people from engineering and IT, they get along with each other, they learn from each other. So we remember we had talked about this, that if there are various departments and you have taken a person from this department and a person from this department and a person from this department for a project, then what will happen? Then the guy from engineering will learn from the guy from finance, cross-functional skill. The guy from the finance will learn from IT, cross-functional skills. The guy from IT will learn from accounting or whatever, the cross-functional skills. So there is a room that people will grow horizontally, like they will understand what's happening in the other domain. So marketing, finance, and accounting, all these guys, once they work with each other, they will get to know much more about the organization they work in and the kind of industry they work in. So, what are the other concepts? Which is, as I said, that the role which we have different role in Agile is the Scrum Master. So, Scrum Master is basically a servant leader. So unlike directive PM, Scrum Master role is here to provide support, coaching, training to the team members and remove some impediment from their way so that they can do their job easily. So he sets up the people were under him for the success. So what is his role? He set up his team for success. So it's not about him, it's about his team. So servant leadership is basically that you serve as to other people so that they can get their job done easily, faster, so that you set them up for success. So you are there to do the tedious jobs. You are there to resolve some conflicts. You are there to coach them. It is not always that you will hold their hand and get the job done by yourself. No, you will coach them so that they can become, they can improve. So you will coach to improve. It's not like, okay, there is an impediment and then you will resolve the impediment and then team will be looking at you always. So they will never learn. So it's not your role to resolve the impediment, but you need to show them the way how it can be resolved so that they go and resolve themselves, so that it's not spoon feeding, it's actually uplifting. Show them the way to uplift them. So not always hold their hand like a, you know, uh, like a do not give them spoon feeding. You need to actually show them the way so that they can do it themselves. So don't take the servant leadership role as a person who will resolve the impediments himself or herself. No, they will coach the team. Let's say, take an example of a scenario where the team is struggling, to a team member is struggling with the setting up his machine so that he can start the work. Now, he may have some issue with the network. So being a Scrum Master, your role would be that you guide him to the appropriate department and appropriate way to raise the ticket with the network team. And maybe if needed, you can set up a call between him as well as the network team to resolve his issue. But instead, the person should not expect that you will go and resolve his issue and everything will be working. No, they have to take their share their responsibility, and in fact everyone has to take their responsibility. Your role should be to coach them, to guide them, and also technically, for example, if it's an IT project, the as a coach, you should also be providing them some guidance how the quality of work can be improved. So your role would be to also coach them in the new areas where they didn't had any experience actually. So, I'm expecting that you would be knowing a bit of the development as well, because if required, like for example, if required, you should be able to comment that how the code quality can be improved. So this is the coaching role I'm saying, that the industry that you work in, you came from that industry, then you are leading the team. So you know how things are done in fact, but you are not doing yourself. Now, it doesn't mean that you don't know anything. You should know how things are done so that you can guide the team whenever they stuck, wherever they stuck. So that's your role of a servant leader. So we talked about self-organizing team, which actually is a team which organizes themselves around the work. They are not micromanaged, they are not directed, they direct themselves around the work, and they distribute the work between themselves so that they can commit to it and complete it. They are from the cross-functional departments, which means that they have different skill set and which complement each other. They actually learn from each other, right? And then we talked about the another concept, which is servant leader, and we associated it with the Scrum Master role. And Scrum Master, being a servant leader, provides coaching role, facilitation role to his team members. He or she sets up the team for success, and they coach the team so that they can improve, and they can do the job better with the better quality. Any question in these concepts? All good?
I have a question.
Yes.
So in all these discussions, it seems project manager is some kind of a monster, and there is a good person, like a counter person, which is like a Scrum Master. Is it the case, or I mean, the current, let's say, way forward is to convert yourself from being a directive to a Scrum Master, or it depends on the time and the project?
So, yeah, it's a good question actually. So, always remember that we need to see which kind of project we are in. So if we are in a predictive project, okay, so the type of project approach that we have taken is a predictive approach, which is a bit traditional approach of project management. We call it a waterfall approach of project management, okay, where we are having a fixed scope, and we do not have so changes are not expected so often. So we will have some rigid structures around that. Okay. Some rigid structure, which mean that if the scope need to be changed, we will have a proper documented procedures and so on. So in this type of environments, we do have a project manager. Okay, we do have a project manager role, and we do have a kind of a directive role, and we do have a kind of a person preparing the project management plan, and he assigns the tasks to the team, and he actually micromanages sometimes also. So so it's based on that project manager delegates the work, he assigns the task and actions, and so on. But this kind of approach, uh, why this kind of approach is necessary? Because we don't have any room, because the client has strict clauses around if the work get delays. I mean, if there are delays, then there will be some penalty as well. If there are budget overruns, then there will be penalty as well. So the project manager also is watchful of the time, and he is watchful of the productivity always. So this kind of environment is this is how it has been led in the industry, like any project, either it's construction or software. But what happened is that with the passage of time, software leaders, particularly leaders within the software industry, they realize that, guys, there is something fundamentally wrong when we are managing projects traditional in a traditional fashion, which is the predictive approach. Either it is to do with the method that we are dealing with, like the traditional method, the phased approach, or in our attitude towards project management or towards the team. So there came the idea of flexibility. Like, okay, all right, one size does not fits all. So as one situation does, I mean, one leadership style will not fit in every situation. So we need to be flexible with the client, so as we need to be flexible with the team as well. All right. So we need to think about the team first. We need to think about the work-life balance as well. Okay. And there came the idea of give them autonomy. Autonomy. Okay. And we believe now that once we give the autonomy, once we give them we empower the team, then and we provide them some environment, the collaborative environment. Okay, this will have a huge impact on the productivity. Okay, so that's the agile approach we are talking about, that we are transitioning to, and it's always it always comes with the agile, and we have this type of symbol wherever you will see during the course. It talks about the feedback loop, which is missing in the traditional kind of approach. So here we ask, we run the project life cycle, we gather the requirements, we design, we develop, we code, we test, and then we ask for the feedback from the client, and then we improve the product. Similarly, we sit with each other at the end of each iteration, and we reflect and we adjust. So between our team, we also reflect and adjust, and then we say, all right, we did some mistakes, there were some hiccups. Let's learn from those so that we should not repeat in the next cycle. So that's how we are agile. We are continuously improving. We are learning along the way. We are making mistakes in each iteration, but we are not making those mistakes again and again in the next iterations.
Okay,
I hope,
thank you.
I hope you got the answer, right?
Yep, thanks. Yes.
All right. Any further question? All right. So we said that, wow. So why PM? All right. So as I talked about predictive, as I talked about agile, so one other name for agile is the adaptive, right? It's an adaptive, flexible life cycle, right? So here, adaptive teams, uh, what do we expect the teams now that ever since Corona came, we realized that remote working is possible. We can have decentralized structures. We can have people working from various locations, and with the more and more collaboration tools that we now have, we have the technology has bridged like technology has bridged the gap, and the people can collaborate remotely. Now, more and more decentralized structures of the teams are common now. All right. So it may happen that you have to practice with some of the team members co-located with you, and the other team members are working remotely with you in a team. Okay. So if this is the situation, then the leader has a distributed team, and then they have to master the facilitation techniques. So here the role of the leader to learn facilitation techniques is imperative. Like you will be required to know various facilitation techniques, how to run online meetings, how to collaborate in an online environment, how to share the content in an engaging way, so that the remote people who work from different countries, they should not feel disengaged. So everyone working with you should feel that they are engaged and they are contributing to the project. They are not sitting in silo, and there are a lot of technology tools which let you do this. You can be in touch with them constantly on instant messaging tools like Slack, like MS Team, like Zoom. You can create live sessions, meetings on these tools, so that everyone feel like that they are not far away. They are within the reach of one call, either on MS Team, Zoom, Slack, wherever, so that you are always in touch with those team members. And also now we have work that happens round the clock because we have teams working distributed, so they work in different time zones. So we have a concept called follow the sun model. So follow the sun model, by the way, follow the sun model, there can be a question in the exam. So companies are following this model uh, where work never stops. So work is always in progress. I mean, work is going on in shifts. We work in shifts, and we may have three shifts, one morning shift, maybe uh, 8 hour shift. Okay. And then this is, let's say, in one time zone. And once it finishes, there is a handover to the other team. So a developer working for 8 hours, he worked on the code. He handed over the code to another set of developer who pick it up where the first developer left it. Then he worked on the, or she worked on it for 8 hours, and then another team came which worked on it for 8 hours. So the work is actually possible around the clock because people are working from distributed teams. So expect this that this is also possible, that you are part of the project where the work happens round the clock. Cool. Any question? Okay. There are interesting questions here. Let's brainstorm these questions, because I can see there is a very interesting question is, if this team is self-organizing, do we need a project manager? Do we really need a PM? Yeah.
Um,
Yes, Danish.
Okay, so I guess they don't need a project manager, as you said, as per the name project manager, but they need a facilitator who organizes and puts them together and discusses and let them discuss, because when everybody is busy solving their own problem, a lot of times they are stuck. So I think the role of a project manager is to bring them together and discuss, so that by discussing a lot of problems, they get solved a lot of times. That's what I
Yeah, sure.
experienced.
Yeah. So it means that unlike the traditional environment where team waits and waits and waits till the PM assigns them a task, so here no one will be waiting for the PM to get the work assigned. Here, the person will get up, he will open the product backlog, he will look at the items that are related to his area of expertise, and this is the product backlog that the team backlogs, like it's a team backlog, and team has to finish it as a team. So he will contribute. He or she will be contributing. So self-organizing is like I go on the team table. I take some work from the table of a team. I bring it on my table. I finish, and then I do not consider my job done. I will go back. I will see where I can contribute, where I can help more. So this is the environment that we want to have in the agile teams. I hope this is clear, right? This model is clear.
Yeah, but I have one question here as well. I mean, I have one practical problem like this, so I just wanted to ask. For example, if there are two or three people in the team and they're working on the same kind of, let's say, in the simulation team, and one of them takes the lead and he does the things of others when they are, let's say, on leave. But probably it's not the right way when he's going to do it all the times, because then the other person who is the one that he did not do it will never learn to do it. So although from the team point of view they are delivering it on the time, but they are not letting the other person evolve as well.
Yeah. Yeah, in this particular scenario where always the person who is efficient, who knows the work, he will be overloaded because he is producing, he is working continuously round the clock, right? And newcomers who does not have prior experience or who they will shy away from taking the responsibility, right? This is your question.
No, even though the person is not shy away of taking the responsibility, but let's say he says he will do it, but he does it in a different way, or he does it maybe in 3 days instead of one day, but he does it in his own way, or maybe a little bit more detailed way. So he comes up with more explanations of the results, but the other person gets the job done very fast. So he's very efficient. He does it, but he does not go in too many details. He just does, like, if somebody asks for A to B, he just does the B and he says, okay, this is it. But both have different styles of doing it. So if all the time we let's say rely on person who is like really efficient in delivering it just for short time, then the other person will not have the chance to shine as well, the guy who does it in details.
Actually, I will just shift your the understanding towards different way, because look, you said that one person uh, will be more productive and the other person might not be that productive. Now here what's happening is it's a team responsibility. If it is a task, it's not a one person task, and we are not promoting individualism, we are promoting team. Like any task is a team responsibility, because team as a whole committed to this work. Okay, so there is no
Okay.
individual here. So if the team is self-organizing, cross-functional, it means that attitude of every person in the team will be self-organizing. It will not be individualism. Like no one will be pushing single like his own objectives. I mean, not this is not a topic here, but I'm trying to shift the focus from the individual ownership to the team ownership.
Okay.
Yeah. So if let's say if we have certain stories that need to be worked on in a sprint, then the whole team has committed on these stories as a whole. Now, if it is not getting done, who will be questioned? The whole team. It's not one person job to finish it. Neither it's one person job to answer. It's the team which committed that yes, based on their capacity, based on their velocity, they committed the user story. Yes, we will do it in 7 days, or we will do it in 14 days. We'll complete it. We'll deliver this feature. Now, if we deliver, we committed ourselves, and then we started working on it. Then definitely we have been doing it. Like it's not possible that yeah, it's possible that we have a new team member who is not who is very new and he doesn't know the culture that we work in, and he or she will take time to adjust to the culture that we are in, right? There will be always learning curve, but expect that person to be always stepping up his or her game, because it's the team which gets affected in the end because of one person, right?
Yeah, okay, yes.
Yeah, it's like a football game. Like if the whole team, it's the win and lose for the whole team, right? No individual person wins, right?
Yep.
Any other question, guys? Okay. So uh, we talked about predictive, very directive team. We talked about agile. So always there is a situation which is the mixture of two. We call it hybrid, and it is not always traditionally like waterfall. Neither it's always like agile. It's a mixture of both. We call it hybrid. So for certain teams, we may have a hybrid structure where we may find people who we may be are directing people which are self-organized, okay, and we may have people who need to be advised, who need to be directed. So for a leader, he has to manage between these two styles of leadership. So for a squad, he has a very self-organized team. For a for single squad, they are well organized. But for certain part of the scope, he might have a different team which need to be advised what to be done, what to be what is needed to be done. So that kind of PM, it is a double type. I mean, it's a dual responsibility for the PM, but he may have to manage certain part of the scope in a traditional way and certain part of the scope in a more agile way. It's bit of challenging, but this is expected in the modern environment. All right. So we call it hybrid team formation. Okay. So what does Agile emphasizes is co-location. So co-location is, I mean, the best form of communication is face-to-face communication. And this is what Agile emphasizes, that we should always have a team which is sitting under one roof. And this will enhance what we call as osmotic communication. Osmotic communication is that communication which is we call it people eardropping each other during the conversations. So two people are talking, and the third person is sitting doing his work, and because he is sitting so next to them, and he is understanding what they are talking, and they are definitely talking about some project work, something that he might be interested in, so he can chip in. So a person sitting next, he has nothing to do with that task, but he chips in and he adds some information to the conversation, right? So this really enhances the communication, decision making, and we call it that this is a perfect term which is introduced as that it enables the osmotic communication to happen between the teams which are co-located at one place. Interesting, right? Right. So, but not everyone working on one location. This can happen. People are distributed between various teams. I mean, various locations, working remotely, working in office. Uh, yeah, the current scenario is that we may have decentralized team. They are not at one location. We may have team members which are augmented from where various suppliers and outsourcing partners, right? So we may have part-timers in the team, part-timers, and we may have full-timers, right? So when it comes to full-timers, uh, we can deal with them in a different manner because they would also expect that since they are full-timers, so they have a more job security, more sense of more perks than the part-timers which are hired for certain time. But again, you can expect that you may have a group of team, or you may have a project team which is composed of part-timers as well as full-timers, and they might all came from various backgrounds, diverse. I mean, because of the hiring policies are diverse nowadays. So you will see a lot of diversity in your project teams also, and you need to maintain that diversity. Now you need to expect that it will be more diverse based on not based on the gender only, but it will be more dimensions would be there for the diversity as well. And we talked about uh, cross-functional team members, but there is one more concept that is interesting. It's called as generalists or generalizing specialists. This is also one cool term which is introduced here. A generalist is master, what they call jack of all trades, master of none, right? So this is a generalist. And then we have a specialist we call like he has excelled really in one area of expertise, like maybe he's a finance guy or he's an engineer. So we can say, all right, he has got special skills about special skills about his role. He's a developer, right? He's a specialist. So we may have a role like Scrum Master. He is a generalist. Like maybe he came from development background, but at time at one time his career he might have been a tester. In one time in his career he might have been a developer, and at one time in his career he might have been into management. So they picked up this guy because he has got diverse experience as the Scrum Master to facilitate the team, and he is actually generalist. Basically, he understands bit things in bit more detail. All right, any question in this? Okay, gradually we are moving forward with the project team roles, and it all remember projects happen in a system, and we are part of the big organization where we do the projects. So you may have functional managers, you may have consultants, uh, and diverse group of people in your project team. Okay, it may be composed of various other support departments like administration, or HR. So you may have team members from administration or HR. They might support you with the project support activities. You may have um, planners or uh, PMO support staff, which will do the job of updating the project plans. Let's say it's a traditional environment where you need someone to keep updating the plans as per the updates of the project progresses. So you may need PMO support staffs to prepare the project status reports if it is manual or so on. Project support staff. And then you being the PM or you being the Scrum Master. So this is management overhead that is needed also in the management. Our head is needed in the projects as well. It need to be budgeted from the project budget. It need to be budgeted from the project budget. So these are the management or various role players in the projects that you would find. All right. Now we are moving towards uh, resources, and we talked about resources that they are self-organized. We said that they are cross-functional. We talked about the generalizing specialist as well in the previous slide. We talked about generalizing specialists. I said that uh, they have they have been they have been into various job roles before, so they know a bit more than one skill set. They have multiple skill set. Cross functional mean we have people from various domains with the different domain knowledge, and an interesting skill is T-shaped staff. Now T-shaped people are actually, they have breadth of knowledge in various areas, but they have excelled really well in one area. One of the area they have excelled really well. So maybe they are generalizing specialists, plus they have at least one skill which is their specialty. So they are generalists in all areas, but one area is that they are really skilled in. So we call them T-shaped. And it's important to have T-shaped team members in your team because they can be your first hand of help in case any let's say they really excelled in the development, and if the lead developer is sick or if there is any emergency role, then these T-shaped skills can jump in. T-shaped skill staff can jump in, and they can provide the stopgap arrangement to get the for business continuity, or to get the wheel rolling, right? Interesting, right? T-shaped skill set. All right. Any question? Why we are quiet today? Gigi, are you there?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
All right. So I just mentioned about the T-shaped people. They have breadth of information. I mean, they know a lot, but they have depth of knowledge in certain areas. This is what we mentioned about the T-shaped people. And they provide you a lot of flexibility and confidence in your team, because the people have not only have diverse skill set, but they have also uh, you can depend and rely on them at the same time of now diversity. And we have to acknowledge that we may be having a team which is multi-generational team. Like we may have from baby boomers to uh, to Zoomers. We may have people from generation X, Z in our team. So depending on the kind of team that we have, and also these are the directions nowadays. We must have diversity in our team, and it goes beyond male and female gender. It goes to the level that we provide equality as well, like we provide some equal opportunities to each set of um, a set of ethnic people. Like we will have people from different countries, and we will have people from different genders. We will have people from different backgrounds, languages. So diversity is one thing, but inclusion is another thing. Like we should also be inclusive in our selection. We should be considerate about our hiring. Once we are uh, forming the project teams, we should form it through various diverse cultures, right? Gigi, would you like to add to diversity?
Well, I think the unique
Nothing?
talent, skills, and knowledge of every team
All right.
member contributes to the team dynamics of the team.
So our project teams, we always depend on people who are experienced than us for support and help. Like as a PM, I may not have industry knowledge in certain aspects. So I would look for the support from the PMO department or the consultants in the organization, especially when the team lacks certain industry insight or certain skill set. They hire external consultants which have worked in previous projects, and they bring a new perspective to the team. So always PM looks for the expert advice. Yes, Danish.
Sorry, just wanted to mention that Gigi was commenting on
Go ahead.
the diversity, and then you started the experts and
You have a
experts,
question, Danish?
you don't hear us?
Sorry, guys, I am not able to hear you, or maybe Danish, you are on mute.
No, I'm speaking, but I guess the voice is not transferring to you, so I will write in the chat.
Sorry, I can't hear you. All right. So once you are back, we will listen to your question. I think you.
Hello, can you hear us now?
Okay. So when you are leading the team,
I
people have
cannot
various
hear us.
strengths and they have various weaknesses as well. So
Yeah,
being a
but he's
leader,
also not
your
reading his
job should
chat.
be that you lead and you use people to their strengths. Like you use people for their strengths rather than putting them to work on the areas where they are weak, right? Because the work will be better done if the person is motivated and if the person is actually really excelled in the kind of role he is given. So you would always use the people for their strengths, right? So you will always organize around your team strengths so that the people who are best in doing certain type of task, so you assign a right person for the right job, right? So that's one of your strategy, that while doing, I mean, like while forming a team, you need to form a team uh, depending on the people's strength rather than the people weaknesses. But you should be aware about their strengths and you should be aware about their weaknesses in advance, or maybe you need to work with them to get to know about their weaknesses as well as their strengths. And this is
Shyam,
our
can I
internal team SWOT
add
analysis,
something?
like what are the strengths we have, so let's leverage on those.
Somehow
What are
he's
the
not hearing
weaknesses
us.
we have, let's be aware of our weaknesses. And together as a team, we may have certain opportunities, or we may identify many threats that could be identified early on, so that we can prepare ourselves for to deal with those hiccups and the risks. All right. So earlier, when we started today's lecture, I talked about two important things. One was the ground rule, and the other was the team charter. So, so when we form a team, it's important that we set up the ground rules from the very beginning. Now, one document that we will be needing is the team charter, but the team charter would include the roles and responsibilities as the first thing. Like we need to add the roles and the responsibilities for the team within the team charter. And team charter will also have certain team goals, like what is the objective of the project or what is the objective of this team? Like this team together has an objective. So what is that objective also? What are our goals, team goals, right? We may have an objective or we may split that objective into various milestones and goals. Now, one section within the team charter is that we will also have ground rules. And what are those ground rules? These rules are built around the working hours, that what kind of working hours we are talking about, and our own escalation procedures. Like if the things get escalated, then how to escalate, uh, and how and what is the escalation matrix. So we should establish the escalation matrix. We should talk about if the conflicts will happen, how we would resolve the conflicts, right? So that conflict management strategy as well we would talk about, and we will write it. And then we will have some rules around what need to be considered, like while we work, there will be no mention of nationality, let's say, or there would be no mention of such and such political association, and so on. So we may form these ground rules so that we should avoid conflicts, unnecessary conflicts. Now, conflicts are healthy, guys, by the way, guys. If the conflict happens, conflict is not always bad. If a conflict happens, it's actually healthy because there is someone who differs with your opinion and he may have a better opinion. So this is the beauty of the conflict, that a conflict, if a conflict is there, better understanding would be there. Like people are really putting up their brain to understand the problem. So these technical conflicts or conflicts between choosing various approaches, these are healthy debates. So we should not consider always conflict in a negative annotation or negative sense. Yeah. And also we will talk about what kind of decision making we will be using. Either we are talking about democratic decision making, where we will have decisions through voting, or there will be a directive decision making. And it all depends. Like if you have a lot of time available and you want to build a consensus between the team members, and you have got a lot of time, then go for it. Uh, Take everyone on board, ask for their opinion, and form a consensus if you reach to a consensus. But when time is at stake, then you need to be a bit more directive. So we may talk about a directive approach when time is at stake, and we may talk about a democratic and consensus building when we don't have uh, any issue with the time and we have a time to do that. So to summarize, we need to form our team charter, and team charter will talk about the roles and responsibilities, the team objective, team goal, and part of it will be the ground rules, where we will set up some ground rules regarding like everyone will be on time during the meeting, everyone will be prepared with the action update from the last meeting. We should not skip the meetings, we should show up in the meetings on time. And what are our working hours? Like we should not be chasing people. Are they up or they are not up? We should always align with the working hours. People working remotely should align with the working hours of the team. That should be well aligned in advance. Like if there are holidays in some part of the world on Friday, Saturday, and some part of the world on Sunday, then we should first align that what are the working days we are talking about, what are the working hours we are talking about. So all these are set up in the ground rules document. All right, guys. And the values. Most important, which I missed, is the shared values. Like values like we promote transparency. Everyone will be bit more transparent with each other. It means that if the progress is 0%, it means it is 0%. It doesn't mean anything else. 0% means 0%. So we should be transparent. So we shouldn't be hiding. We shouldn't be hiding. So we promote transparency, and transparency is our value. This is what one of the value, but we promote collaboration. This could be another value. Like we like people working with each other, and then this is what we value more as a team. Yeah. So these are our values, and we may value honesty. We may value honesty, right? We may value honesty, and we have these values as part of the PMI code of ethics. We have these values as part of code of ethics. We respect. So respect is one of the value. Honesty is one of the value. Transparency is one of the value. Collaboration is one of the value. These are the things we value in team. People giving respect to each other, to themselves, people being honest, people being collaborative, and people being transparent. So these are our shared values, and we may decide any value for our team, which we will promote. Any question, guys? Oh, today we didn't ask for the break as well. 5 minute break?
Can you go to your chat? Can you hear
Danish,
us?
you are mute.
No, I'm not mute.
You're not mute?
No.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Then I need to fix my stuff. Wait. Really? Wait. Let me first stop the recording.